All right, welcome back. It's Breakfast Daily. We're going to get into some interesting conversations that are, of things that are happening around the country today. One of them is the transport fares that, dreaded news. Transport fares are going up. And we have a report for you. But before I take you to that, remember the show is interactive. Kindly use the hashtag Breakfast Daily on all social media platforms that you see our streams for us to hear what you're thinking. The WhatsApp line is 0550-585832. A big thank you to Skywater and Creamy Plus for sponsoring this show, and also Note Cosmetics for supporting us as well. Let's go and take a look at this report on transport fares that are going up.
Transport fares went up by 20% in May 2022. As of 9th May 2022, when the new fares took effect, petrol and diesel were selling at a national average of 9 cedis, 41 pesos, and 11 cedis, 12 pesos respectively. Currently, the price of petrol per litre has crossed 13 cedis, and diesel sells for over 15 cedis per litre at most fuel pumps. In anticipation of the increase in fares to be announced on Monday, Citi News spoke to a cross-section of commuters in Accra.
As for we, the workers, our salary has not been increased over the years. So increment on transport is affecting us. We are only living by the grace of God. So if I had the opportunity to meet with the authorities, I would tell them that this is too much. This is too much, because you wake up tomorrow, the next day, fares have been increased, and it's creating a lot of problems.
My solution is very wicked though. Fine, if government is ready to lower fuel prices, we will be okay, because we are all suffering now. But if they see any driver taking more than what they are supposed to take, they should be reported and then be arrested or something like that, or you'll be given something that you can't drive.
The increments in fare will come as, because if I'm a student, I'm going to school and they give me 15 cedis a day. From here to Alajo, let's say 4 cedis. Which money will I use for my feeding? Like, my parents don't have some to give me, and the little they have, I have to take 4 cedis out. Please, to hurt me.
Some drivers who plied the Kaneshi to Circle route say the increment is justified.
Oh, full and the Yamenum no Queen. The share prices now. Now, tomorrow, you're going to demand this common to craft because now, full no mubuma and lorry fair in the now any share. We go below the free abaco banoshe, Sikana Unyane, full and auto na high salary dear. Memenya control, manage more account and controller general. It is a banker's watumwa, a honor, a yomonia, but yes, I'm ready. Driver first is grass and ye, it's just a jet.
He said the number is too much. It's too much. With a petrol and to minto, the 1 liter cry in easy. The one will be a magamba because above first, one more 2 women take 1 2 my. And so no one call I've been cruma a bias and answer what so 10 pesos. And to the ones who was no, because of 10 pesos into my drivers for many and far be behind your day. And to so you hold on answer. They say I took petrol 4 times. Until Fina, you have to say what's a wobatum.
However, a station master and a few commercial drivers believe the government must intervene to stabilize prices of petroleum products.
Even if they increase the price, it can't stop our problem for us.
Because the fuel
it's too high. 72 Ghana. You buy fuel about 400 Ghana. 1.5, 5.5. If you can work about 6 million, 7 million. So at least, if the price of the petrol is down, it's better.
It's a better and it's a second for salary and 2 million. Stand on Mujin and 1 or Moji. It's yes, I bet 2 or frame. I bet my Juman be back for my. Oh, it is a man baby for food no, or better so about for my. Now, so no more friend I had Jenny's idea.
All right, so there you have the report of what's happening. Now, Apioko has joined me on the show this morning, and I want to say good morning to her. Hi, Api.
Hi, Queen.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Charlie, this thing, what's it called? Is it Pompidou or what?
Oh, they're just buns.
It's just buns.
You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe we'll call them large Bantu knots or something.
Yeah, but good morning. How are you? And how have you been this weekend?
Well, it was an interesting weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, weekend of fashion, you know, the Good Africa Fashion Week.
Yes.
Went for that. You know, spent some time with the kids. Yeah, it was a nice weekend. You know.
Yeah, I think I
And
got
yours?
some time to rest as well. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that, you know, sometimes we have to rein it in a little bit, you know. There's a lot of activities
Oh,
that
yeah.
can, you know.
Back to back.
Yeah. But sometimes you just rein it in a bit and just get some rest and all that. Yeah, anyway. So this story here, you know, fuel affects everything.
Absolutely.
And as you heard the drivers say, the fuel prices have gone up quite a few times without any response from transport sector, you know. And so now the transport GPRTU says, look, we've got to go up, all right? We have a couple of stories on citinewsroom.com. I think we should read some of them and then we can talk about what we're seeing and experiencing. So
Okay.
there's the GPRTU across the country in
Right.
local communities, and then we also have the intercity transportation system as well as the VIP. And so let me read the GPRTU one.
Okay.
Commuters worried over impending increments in transport fares, and this story here says, some users of public transport are unhappy about the proposed increment in transport fares to be announced by the Ghana Private Road Transport Union today, Monday, the 24th of October, 2022. Now, they are thus urging the government to intervene. Following the recent hike in prices of petroleum products, the GPRTU announced its intention to increase fares by about 40% after talks with government on Thursday. In anticipation of the increase in fares to be announced, Citi News spoke to a cross-section of commuters in Accra. I have some quotes here. The salaries of workers have not increased in recent times. So the increment in transport fares will affect us. We are only living by the grace of God. The proposed upward adjustment is too high, says one passenger. Another says, if government is able to reduce fuel prices, we will be okay because we are suffering too much. Then, meanwhile, VIP Gion has announced new transport fares for the traveling public effective 7 a.m. today.
Right, and we have a story about that also on citinewsroom.com. So, I mean, it's been updated. They said this, I think, late last week.
Yeah.
And now we actually have the fares. So I'll just go through this story. VIP John Transport announces new fares effective Monday. Patrons of VIP John Transport Service will, from Monday, October 24, 2022, which is today, pay more for services provided by the transport company. The upward adjustment in fares charged by the company was announced in a statement issued by the management of VIP John Transport on Sunday evening. VIP John Transport announces for the attention of the traveling public new fares effective on Monday, 24/10/2022 at 7 hours GMT, the company added in the statement. This comes on the back of plans of the Ghana Road Transport Union, GPRTU, to increase transport fares on Monday. Various driver unions have demanded a 40% upward review of the fares they charge following the continuous rise in fuel prices in Ghana. Currently, diesel and petrol are selling for over 15 Ghana cedis and 13 Ghana cedis respectively at major fuel, and that's per litre. At major fuel pumps, a situation transport operators say is eroding their profit. And so I'll just run through the different prices that have come through from VIP Gion. Executive coaches, Accra Kumasi, 100 Ghana cedis. Accra Sunyai, 130 Ghana cedis. Accra Techiman, 130 Ghana cedis. Accra Sampa, 160 Ghana cedis. Accra Drobo, 150 Ghana cedis. Accra Doma, 150 Ghana cedis. Accra Kintampo, 140 Ghana cedis. Accra Nkranza, 130 Ghana cedis. Accra Sefwidra Buso, 150 Ghana cedis. Accra Ahafo Mim, 130 Ghana cedis. Accra Ahafo Guaso, 130 Ghana cedis. Accra Dunkwao, 125. So, you know, if you're doing, we can get to Dunkwao, walk somewhere. 125 Ghana cedis. Accra Ashanti Mampong, 110 Ghana cedis. Accra Ashanti Bekwai, 110 Ghana cedis. Accra Obuasi, 120 Ghana cedis. Accra Tamale, 240 Ghana cedis. Accra Yendi, 250 Ghana cedis. Accra Bolga, 270. Accra Navrongo, 280. Accra Boku, 285. Accra Wa, 260. Accra Buipe, 215. Accra Garu, 295. Accra Nandom, 270. Accra Hamile, 275. Kumasi Tamale, 140. Kumasi Bolga, 170. Kumasi Boku, 180. Kumasi Garu, 190. Kumasi Wa, 160. Kumasi Sunyai, 35. Kumasi Guaso, 35. Kumasi Techiman, 35. Accra Ebuakwa Kumasi, 110. And then, so that's for the executive coaches. And then if you're doing the standard tour coaches, they're slightly smaller. And, you know, so, I mean, there's a whole list. Accra Kumasi is 80, Accra Sunyai 115. The list is there. So you can go to citynewsroom.com. Just look for that story. VIP John Transport announces new fares effective Monday. And you get a sense of what you will be spending going forward. And I mean, I don't know how long these prices will last until they go up again. But how long you'll be spending depending on where you're traveling from and where you're traveling to within Ghana.
I'm thinking that when you reach Tamale, then you get down, then you take the Prajia.
You're already making plans.
No, I'm making plans. They take Prajia, then go to Boku with Prajia. Because the way it is, you know,
Charlie?
the 45 Ghana cedi difference. You know. Wow.
It's amazing.
This is incredible.
It's amazing.
No,
and
the prices are, you see, but you can't also argue against this because in a certain sense, look at how much fuel costs.
You can't.
I mean, I went to buy fuel
and this is even you just
Sunday.
in Accra.
Oh.
This is you just in Accra moving around.
Yeah.
These are large buses with larger engines.
Yes.
So they take more fuel.
And they buy diesel.
Exactly.
And diesel is more expensive than petrol. And I bought fuel yesterday. I said, 150 Ghana cedis. Let me just put fuel in my tank. I bought it. I looked at the gauge, and I didn't know how to feel because it didn't do anything.
You didn't know how to feel.
I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know whether I should be sad, angry, disappointed. It just felt blah. It was like, you know, where are we going?
Yeah, I've decided not to overthink it, you know. Also because, you see, let's not forget that there are global forces at play.
Yeah.
Global market forces at play.
Yeah.
And so it's a very complex situation. For years, we were buying fuel and gasoline products, petroleum products, with subsidies from the government. Those subsidies have been taken away, you know. So that's one thing. Then we are dealing with several issues around the globe. And of course, we are a developing country. We don't use a dollar sum. We don't use a pound sum. We don't use a euro sum. So we're getting the brunt of it. You know, it's unfortunate, but that's what it is.
I wonder something though. Yes, on Saturday I was watching The Big Issue, and Joe Jackson made some very interesting points. You know, talking with Godfrey Akoto-Boafo on the economy and some of the decisions that we need to take to help ourselves, right? I'm a huge believer in let's produce locally.
That's the way
Right.
it should be done.
But Joe Jackson said something very interesting. He said, look, we've propped ourselves up as lower middle income, right? Which takes us out of the bracket of certain concessionary loans.
Yep.
So it means you say you are a big boy. So some money day, but that money is not for you
want to bamba.
because you are a big boy.
Exactly.
Right? Lower yourself. Humble yourself. Calm down so that you can access some of the monies that are for the small people. Because really, you are only, it's like you say you're a big boy, but it's air. You've pumped air. And so you are looking big.
It's because of the disparities, the disparities between the different so-called income brackets, economic strata.
Yeah.
They're too wide, right? They're just too wide. And that's one of the problems that we're facing.
But I thought we should measure ourselves by the smallest and the weakest of us. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
That's the way we should measure ourselves.
No, we should. We should. But it doesn't change the fact that as we stand here, the disparities are too wide.
Well,
and it's not something that we are willing to admit.
Yeah.
When you talk about global economics, you always hear the 1%, the richest 1%, and they're controlling all the wealth. You hear things like that.
Yeah.
Now, if globally your 1% is controlling most of the wealth, then you have a problem.
Yeah.
And it's something that other jurisdictions have tried over time to curb so that the wealth is more evenly spread.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We haven't really done that.
No.
It's also because a lot of people find themselves in governance positions or in more privileged positions, like to pretend that there's nothing bad or negative happening in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
And it is a problem.
It's a problem. It's a big problem.
People are very disconnected from what is actually happening on the ground.
Yeah.
So when you take a story like we had 2 weeks ago from Bimbilla, and you're hearing that people are struggling because now to get a good filling meal of cocoa they need, and sugar, they need to have at least 2 Ghana cedis. Yeah. For somebody, that's outrageous.
It's like,
you can't even fathom it.
Is that even possible?
You can't fathom it.
Yeah.
And it's because we've not taught ourselves to be aware of our privilege at every point in time that we find ourselves. It's a very problematic thing.
Yeah.
Now, people who are not aware of their privilege end up in governance positions. You think they are going to actually know what's happening? They won't. They will not. And that's one of the challenges we're facing.
Yeah.
The other one is that, and people don't like to say, but that's what it is. When people are in positions, put into positions to make policy, to change systems, they see it as an opportunity to big themselves up.
Well, yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not something we like to talk about, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And then the people too who know and can help are like me, the politics, I won't do some because, I'll be victimized. Let me just stay in my corner.
Yeah. I don't want to get dirt on my,
you get it.
On my clothing.
But if you don't get dirty, then there's no need for your washing powder.
Yeah.
If you don't get dirty, then, when it's time to have a bath, right? Then you might as well not scrub yourself.
Yeah.
Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So we have so many challenges, and a lot of it is mindset. And as for when it comes to economics, and you can talk numbers, but a lot of it has to do with mindset.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what Vivian was saying this morning about the speculation that's going on with the dollar. There's a lot of speculation, and then people sit on WhatsApp groups saying things like, by end of October, then the dollar reached 20.
Yes.
And so when you do that, and that starts to spread
so
around.
So there are people in that group who have now put that in their heads.
Yeah.
And so what are they doing?
They're all the dollars they can find.
And we don't have that much of it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's become a scarce commodity, and basic economics tells you what? When something is scarce, it's in low supply, the value rises.
Yeah.
So that now it's survival of the fittest, goes to the highest bidder, and that's what we are seeing.
Yeah.
The other thing we are not talking about, this global challenge thing. See, our governments in Africa, of course, in Ghana, keep talking about Russia-Ukraine war, Russia-Ukraine war. Sometimes it gets annoying because you feel like Russia-Ukraine war and then COVID, they are the excuses for everything. But I also feel it's because they haven't really explained to us what it is. Look, the thing is real.
Yeah.
Parts of Europe, it's really affecting. Don't forget that Europe trades as a bloc, right?
Yes.
So it's really affecting how things are happening there. Russia is a big player in many sectors. Okay, it's affecting how things are playing there. Now you've got also the UK that inadvertently also does some business with Europe, you know, surrounding areas. Asia will do business with Europe, all that. Now the safest currency for everybody is the dollar.
Yeah.
So the Americans don't even have to do much, and the dollar is becoming so powerful.
Yeah.
And the US is also worried because if all this ends and things come crashing down, it affects them and their people.
Yeah.
So it's a very big challenge we're dealing with, and I don't think we've understood the magnitude of it and where we fit in the global scale. But back to your original point, we need to start producing for ourselves.
Yes.
What are we doing?
Yes. Yes.
We started talking about Ghana rice in 2019. People got upset with us. And then, unfortunately, COVID hit. And, you know some of these things.
What I find interesting.
But me, I eat Ghana rice.
Yeah. Myself too. No,
and it's been like that for years.
The thing I watched happen during the times we talked about the Ghana rice was there was a high demand for local rice, right? Then it got to a point, a few months into the campaign, it got to a point, people go to the shops and they can't find the rice, right? Now, for me, that's a failure of governance. Because what happens is we need to be able to create a platform that says it's exciting for importers and producers to latch onto the opportunity of demand, local demand, to say, let's invest in this because there's local demand for it. We will make money. Do you see the thing? But all this feeds back into the transport sector and into fuel prices going up and into transport prices going up, which would then feed back again into the cost of everything going up.
Exactly. So look, we have a real challenge on our hands. You know, we have a real challenge on our hands, and we really, really, really need to figure something out. And you see, don't forget also that if we had transportation systems that were more robust, I'm talking about public transportation systems, the demand, back to that demand thing, the demand for the however million cars that are on the road that are using either petrol or diesel would have dropped. And then we could figure out things, but look, our problems, But anyway, Mr. Abbas Imoro is on the line. He's the GPRTU Industrial Relations Officer. So let's speak to him and see how things are going this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. So the GPRTU, you finally had to increase fares. And we are talking about, based on what we've heard from your camp, at least a 40% increment. Really, what's the situation on the ground? How are things going? How have we got to this point?
We haven't come up with the new fares yet.
Yes, we're aware of that, but based on conversations, these are some of the things that have been suggested. So I'm just asking where you are, where you sit, you know, what's happening and how have we got to this point?
Normally, we take the increment on the high prices of components that we use. You know, we use spare parts. The dollar for some time now has been misbehaving. And that has increased the lorry fares. Recently, government machinery, DDLA came up with increments on their documentation. Our lubricants that we use, prices have changed. Well, which is something that everybody is aware frequently has experienced upward prices. So these are some of the things that contest to change the lorry fares and make sure to render effective services. We were at the negotiating table with the government machinery last Wednesday. We couldn't conclude. We came out and announced what we will be. We will go back and finalize issues. When we finish, whatever percentage that we all agreed on, we'll bring it to the public domain. But for now, we haven't announced any new increment.
When can we expect the announcement to come through?
The meeting is taking place at 4 p.m. So any time after the meeting, we'll come out with a communique and start engaging the media.
Okay.
Normally, when we are through with this, we don't come out with immediate increment. We give about a day or two just to make sure we sensitize the public so that nobody fights any driver. This is how we go about it.
Okay. Is it likely to be about 40%?
Come again.
Is the increment likely to be about 40%?
Oh, the percentage I don't have to talk about. Let's finish with everything and come out with whatever percentage we agreed on.
Okay. And in the case where the public's reaction is not very palatable, what would the GPRTU do? Are you going to stick to it no matter what?
Well, we expect one thing from the public, like some of you, to come out and praise the drivers in this country. Because we have sacrificed a lot. That is the only thing we expect. Apart from that, we don't expect anything different. Because we really done well with the general public.
We've taken our cameras around and microphones to talk to a few people in transport yards and so on, passengers. These are commuters.
Kindly raise your voice.
Yeah, I'm saying that we've taken our microphones around to talk to a few commuters, and they are very adamant about government intervening to make sure that GPRTU reduces what they've heard is going to be a possible increment in rates, in prices.
Oh, normally our drivers have been all the time reasonable, because if we increase fares to the higher percentage that when we place our vehicles, nobody's doing. Do we have any business doing? The answer is no. If the answer is no, that is why they choose the leadership that we have. They are always being reasonable enough that they balance the equation. The passengers are our relatives. We are into serious business as well. So I strongly believe finally we'll bring out something which will be good for both drivers and passengers.
Okay. All right, Mr. Muro, thank you for speaking to us. We'll be listening out for what the decision is after your meeting today. Okay. Thank you. So we've been speaking to Mr. Abbas Imoro. He is the GPRTU Industrial Relations Officer. And David, so I think we just have to wait and see what happens.
I mean, the way it is just a waiting game now. Whatever happens, I'm sure by the close of day today, we'll probably know.
What he says is that usually after the meeting has happened, a meeting like we're expecting to happen at 4 p.m. Yes, just to make sure that they've got all the touch points right. And the pricing is what it should be. I'm sure they consider so many different things, including the sentiments of the public. Yes. So let's just see how that goes. But this is what it is. This is what it is.
Well, I mean, listen, I think that, again, back to the same conversation we were having earlier, if we are willing to bite the bullet and do what we have to do, we will get out of this quite quickly, relatively. But if we are not, then we are in for a long haul. I mean, this is going to take at least 3 to 4 years of this, quagmire that we're in. But I actually believe that if we did the right things, we could get out of this thing in a few months, But it looks as if we've said things in the past, the government has said things in the past, that we are going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And it's like, even though doing those things seem, to be taking us down the wrong path. It's like we'll stick to our guns no matter what because we said we'll do it. And this is part of the problem. I mean, I think that, I don't know if you saw that episode, but I think that what Joe Jackson said was that it's okay to eat humble pie.
Yeah, I did watch it.
Backtrack.
I did
eat
watch
humble
it. But
pie.
what I think that, let's also acknowledge the fact that the government has eaten humble pie to some extent, and they've gone to the IMF.
Well,
after months of saying they wouldn't go, when we knew that we had to go,
yeah,
they have gone. Those meetings have happened, and the IMF was in town about 2 weeks ago. Meetings were successful, and we're waiting to see what will come out of that. However, my concern now, the humble pie narrative, is that we behave like we are humble.
Yeah, I know.
So that we don't have to go back to the IMF.
Yeah.
And you see, when these bailouts come, right, because we are bound by all sorts of austerity contracts and whatnot, we tend to do what we are supposed to do for the most part. When everything is lifted, it's like, oh, okay,
back to business as usual.
Lolo, let's go. And
yeah.
it's not the way we should be doing things. We've had several opportunities along the way, I think, to put ourselves into the right framework and context so that we can move forward as a country. COVID brought challenges, but it also brought, to some extent, an opportunity for us to reset. When all the borders were closed and trade was almost at a standstill, some things happened here. Look at how, if you remember, when COVID first hit, so March 2020, lockdown came in April. If you remember, a box of nose masks, just the simple nose mask, was about between 250 to 400 Ghana cedis. Then we told some of our biggest textile producers, manufacturers, fashion designers who have the big factories. We told them, went to them and said, look, we need you to partner us on this journey. Produce face masks here. That's how we got to the 1 Cedi and 2 Cedi.
Yeah.
Maybe some people don't know.
Yeah.
So these people were producing here.
Yeah.
If you remember the cloth mask, that became a conversation at a point where WHO was recommending that, the CDC was recommending that we're using our wax prints, our batik, our tie and dye to do them. And people were actually able to export them. Because people wanted them. That is a prime example of what we can do when we put our minds to it. Because every time we want the low-hanging fruit, let's import. I'm not sure how low a fruit in terms of importation is anymore.
No, but it benefits a few people who have the clout. And that's where the problem is at. That's what the problem is at. And then it messes all the rest of us up.
But you see, for the rest of us too, yesterday there's a whole conversation on Facebook about just basically Ghanaians, different walks of life, tossing the ideas around about what we can do in terms of developing taste for Ghanaian products, how we can contribute our own quota, our own little corner to patronizing made in Ghana. Because the more you patronize, more, give or take, all other things being equal, ceteris paribus, your local manufacturer is able to scale up. And it gets to a point where if, again, all other things being equal, things sit within a certain space, they can produce more. Not only they can produce more, they can spread the cost across more things that they're producing. That's what we call economies of scale. And then gradually prices per unit drop, right? But that can't happen if we don't patronize, if we're not helping our industries to get to a point where we can now export. So this whole conversation, a gentleman comes and talks about how he produces favors. So like, the things that go into Christmas hampers and all that. And he does the 3D laser ones on wood and bamboo. And he spoke about how he went to a couple outfits, couple companies, trying to, pitch to them. And what he's doing is he has the technology, everything he's been doing in Ghana, same quality as any, if not higher, if you ask me, than anything that would be imported, and it's a very top-notch stuff. And then in both instances, the HRs of these companies are saying that, no, they want the imported ones. Because their mindset is that if these things go out to their high-end clients, they will not last. the guy is like, really?
I think,
and that's our mindset.
Yeah,
Anything foreign is better.
Yeah, Abby, there's that, but I also think there's a underlying in a very sinister way. There's underlying all of that, the idea that if I import, I can always mark up for myself. If I am heading the decision making for the imports, I will always benefit.
Yeah.
If I do a local procurement, it's more difficult to do that kind of a markup.
You're right.
Get a thing? And this is, for me, it's a very sinister thing. But these are some of the issues that we need to deal with, you know. And so anyway, we will get into more conversations regarding these things later on. But we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back to get into some other different conversations.